folks, Professor K here, and we're in part 5 of the idea generator tutorial. So in this part of the tutorial, I'm going to try and get the randomized piece of my generator part, the generating part, right? So my idea is to have 2 random bookmarks show up from my set of bookmarks from raindrop.io. And I want to do this each time the button is clicked. So I'm going to focus on that random part for this tutorial. Let's get started. All right, so just as a reminder, here I have my idea generator code in here. And I left off with having my HTML come back from each item, fetching the data, figuring out a whole bunch of stuff. So as I said, my goal here is to get 2 random bookmarks from my stored data. So I think I might just start by focusing on the random part of that. Now I did a little Googling before this, and I came up with this math.random. So this function in JavaScript allows us to generate random numbers between 0 and a maximum. So here you can see in this demo here that we've got a function getRandomInt with a maximum, and it's going to return math.floor and then a couple of random numbers here. So this math.floor rounds, it's like a rounding function. So instead of getting a decimal, it will round up or down to the nearest whole number. That's why when we take a look at line 5 here, console.log getRandomInt3, if we run it, we can see that it's getting us a random number between 0 and 3. It should output either 0, 1, or 2. That's exactly what we want. We want something just like this. So I'm actually going to use this demo code as a starting point. Now, since I haven't worked in a while, because if you remember last time I was going a little crazy on not very much sleep, and I was getting tired. So it's actually been a couple days. I'm nice and refreshed. And now that I've done that, need to actually restart all my NPM stuff. So every time you've taken a pause from your projects, every time you need to restart, you're just going to go into your GitHub. You're going to drag your, what is this called again? Maybe I'm not so refreshed as I thought. Idea generator. You'll just drag and drop this idea generator right into terminal. And that's going to do a couple things for you. It's going to change directory over to idea generator. So you can also do cd and then drag and drop the folder in, or if you're real hardcore, you can literally type the folder path out, but who has time for that? I don't have time for that. So since it's been a while, we're going to do an npm install. Doesn't hurt, right? Let this go through. Okay, and we're back. That part is optional. That's best done if you've just merged a branch, or if you just haven't worked on your project in a while, maybe some dependencies accidentally got uninstalled. It's just good practice. In this case, it's only since yesterday. I probably didn't need to do it. So, take it or leave it. But here we can now do npm run start, and that will get us started off with development. So this is going to start right up and start building. We'll just keep this in the corner. All right, excellent. So here we have our idea generator, and we have each of the cards in there. And now instead of grabbing all of these, we really just want to grab 2. So let's start with our math.random code here. I am just going to borrow this example code here and pop it into Visual Studio Code and use that as a starting point. So here in my scripts, let's refamiliarize ourselves with how everything works in here. We've got our container. We're caching our response. We're getting the data. We console logged it too. I'm going to leave that there. We add the markup for data. So for const item of data.items, we're going to create the markup, and we create that using the create idea markup function. Okay, so where's the most appropriate place to put this code? I think it's in add markup, because this is where we're deciding how many cards to add. And right now this is taking data, and it's saying for all of data.items, append create idea markup. And this is being called from our then function in getData. Okay, add markup stored data. All right, let's write a function to get a random number. Let's start there. Start easy before we even get into all that. So here's our getRandomInt max. Int is short for integer. If you want to use getRandomNumber, I prefer friendlier language. That way you don't have to know computer science. And again, we remember that this returns a whole number, math.floor, between these two. So math.random times math.floor max. So what's our maximum? What's the most I need, the highest number I want here? Well, let's think about this. I want 2 random items out of my array of data. So thinking about arrays, I think about a for loop, and our first position is always 0. Our last position is always 1 less than the length of the array. So this get random number, the way that it works, actually works really well for what we want, because I think we can use this random number to access a certain position in our array. So that's how we'll do the randomization part of this. We'll say the random number is, what part of the array are we picking? And then return that. And then every time we rerun this function, we'll get a new random number back and a new bookmark to store with it. So if the maximum here is the number of items we have to deal with, then we should console.log our max, right? So data.items.length should be our max. That's the idea. And let's do this with stored data. I think this will work. Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens when we console log this. So we're going to save, watch our terminal here, and then let's see this refresh, check out our console, see what's going on. It was stored, error while compiling. All right, well, let's put in spaces where they should be to start with so we don't have to worry about that. Why don't we start with console.log stored data to help us figure out what's going on? Well, there's a lot going on here, huh? It's still running, but I wonder if it would be helpful to me if I ran the fix command here. So this is npm run fix. This is a custom command I have built in to try and fix this stuff. I don't know if it's actually done much here. Sure seems like a lot of these are still left here. Oh, it's just 12 problems and not 58. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right, so let's try one more time. I just want to verify those results. Okay, cool. Then npm run start one more time. Oh, I see what the problem is. Do you see what the problem is? So see what I did over here? Get random number. I changed the name of the function, but I never actually changed the call. So this is calling a function that doesn't exist. That's going to cause an error in the browser and stop this from running. So let's try one more time here. I'm gonna save, this is refreshing. And now in our idea generator, we should be seeing a little bit more like we were expecting. There we go. Here's our object and items. Okay, and at line 40, this is saying null. Okay, so stored data is null. Well, let's try that one more time and see if maybe this works more as expected. It was stored. All right, so let's fix some of these errors here. There's an add markup was used before it was defined. That's valid. So add markup is used over here. Let's put this up at the top so that we don't get that error anymore. That fixes a few. Create idea markup is the same deal. So let's put that up above add markup. Just organize things. Get data was used before it was defined as well. So we should really only be checking this stuff after all of our library functions. I'm going to call them library functions. They're like the library of stuff that we use. Okay, this is good. I want to look at this errors and generators here at some point and just see what that's about. I must not like this for loop. Well, that's okay. We're going to get rid of it eventually anyway, because our idea here is to get 2 random items, not to go through the whole loop. So we're not going to worry about that. But you know, this still doesn't solve my question. Let's put this here. Okay, get random number max. My random number is stored data to items.length, and then console.logging stored data. Okay, I have 33 items in my stored data. That's good. Cool. No, that's not what it is. I logged out stored data and I got a random number based on my stored items.length. So actually, when I save this, I should get a new number in the console. That's what's happening here. Let's watch. 36. Okay, this is working as expected. Our stored items.length is 50. Okay, so now that we know that get random number is working, when we add markup using our data, I think we need to get 2 random numbers. So let's get const first bookmark equals one of those get random numbers, and then let's do second bookmark. And you know what? Well, let's even just shorten that to first and second. And if you like, you can combine these with a comma. So this will work just fine. You'll have both these as a constant. And then we are going to, instead of doing this for loop, we're just going to say this container, we're going to add create idea markup for item at first, because remember, we're getting the random number to get the position in the array that we want, right? So this will get our first randomized piece. Oops. All right, so we're going to do this with the first one and then with the second one as well. And if all goes well, we should only see 2 items being put on the page now. Okay, it didn't go well. I should know not to say if all goes well. Okay, so let's take a look at our errors here and see what might have happened. Item is not defined. Oh, you know what? It's because we need this to be data at items. Because remember, we were in a for loop before, so we were looping over data.items. So that's the missing piece here. Oh, you know what? We can't do that with const. Who knew? You can do it with var. Trailing space is not allowed. Okay, I don't think it's these errors in the terminal. Let's check out our console and see what else might be happening. Oh, well, this is null. Well, that might be part of it. Okay, so you know what we didn't do? We didn't really do any error checking with this. So let's trace back through where this might be coming from. So we are using add markup data. Oh, you know what? It was because I had a reference to something that didn't exist anymore. Okay, so we've got our 2 randomized items. And now if I refresh this, I should get 2 different bookmarks. Oh, check that out. Cool. Okay, and this isn't quite right, because I still have, I'm pulling too many bookmarks right now, but that's okay. I can fine tune that kind of like data part later. Getting the 2 random bookmarks is a big deal. So that's a win. Next, I'm going to tackle some CSS next. I want to get this more in line and just make it a little easier to work with. This is finally starting to bother me enough that I need to do some CSS. So stay tuned. I'll be back in just a moment.